in India, we are going to see Vice President of India election. Stage set for C.P. Radhakrishnan and Sudarshan Reddy. The Vice President of India, the former Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar resigned. With all, there is no requirement in the Constitution to conduct the elections of Vice President within 10 days or 15 days because no time frame is given. With respect to President election, the election should be conducted within 6 months. With respect to Vice President election in Constitution, time frame is not given. But the Election Commission of India have taken a quick decision and organized entire structure for VP, Vice President's election. And most probably, CP Radhakrishnan is going to become the Vice President. And from India bloc side, Sudarshan Reddy from Telugu state, he is contesting. And the Vice President of India is elected by an electoral college, which consists of the members of both houses of parliament, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, including nominated members will also participate in the Vice President election in Rajya Sabha. Even nominated members will participate in the Vice President's election in Rajya Sabha. And the Vice President is elected by an electoral college, which consists of both houses of the parliament in accordance with the proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. The voting in the Vice President poll is done by secret ballot. The electoral college to elect a person to office of the Vice President consists of all members of parliament, including nominated members in Rajya Sabha. And most importantly, Vice President as second highest office, the office of Vice President is the second highest office, and he also is the ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. So he is also the ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. So most important thing, and Vice President of India should be a candidate who is contesting as a Vice President of India should be a citizen of India, completed the age of 35 years, should have completed the age of 35 years, and is qualified for the election as a member of Rajya Sabha, and is qualified for the election as a member of Rajya Sabha. So it's very important. Next important news that is coming up. America tightens visa rules. No more quick appointments abroad for Indians. See, the American Department of State have issued a directive which is going to become effective immediately, requiring non-immigrant visa applicants, including Indians, to set up their interview appointments exclusively in their country of citizenship or legal residence. For example, I'm an Indian. I want American visa. If I don't get a visa slot here, or if I'm in tour in Singapore or some other country, I can take visa appointment from that country also till now. In that country's embassy also till now. Okay, in that country's visa office also till now. But now, the citizens who belong to a particular country, for example, I belong to India, I should take visa appointment in India only. I'm not allowed to take in other countries. So, visa appointments were tightened, were strictened. The new visa rules will be implemented globally. Effective immediately, the Department of State has updated instructions for non-immigrant visa applicants. This is for non-immigrant visa applicants. And they should schedule visa interview appointment at US Embassy or Consulate in their country of nationality or residence. They should schedule their visa appointment only at the US Embassy or Consulate in their country or their nationality or residence. Legally, you should be a citizen there, or legally you should be residing there. That means legal residence, or your country of nationality. Only in that place you can get a visa appointment in American Embassy or Consulate, not in any other foreign country. So America day by day is strictening the visa rules. This action will have a direct impact on Indians who have applied interview seats in Singapore, Thailand, and Germany in the recent years to avoid domestic backlogs. This means that Indians who need to travel to the US quickly will not be able to schedule business visas, that is B1, or tourism visas, that is B2, appointment visas overseas. This option is no longer available in the new policy. News that is coming up. September 8th is the International Literacy Day. The Ministry of Education celebrated September 8th as the International Literacy Day, promoting literacy in the digital era. And Particularly if you observe, Himachal Pradesh was declared as the fifth state, oblique UT. Himachal Pradesh was declared as the fifth state or UT to achieve full functional literacy. Himachal Pradesh was declared as the fifth state or UT to achieve full functional literacy after Tripura, Mizoram, Goa, and Ladakh. It's very important. Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan said literacy is not only about reading and writing, but also about empowerment. The Union Education Minister, Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan, said that literacy is not about reading and writing, but also empowerment, dignity, and self reliance. India's literacy rate has increased from 74% in 2011 to 80.9% in 2023-2024. Remember, India's literacy rate earlier it was 74%, 15 years back. Now it is 80.9%. So almost 81% of Indians are literates. Means they know how to read and write. Okay, how to read and write. Also, uh, try to identify the difference between literacy and education. What is full education and what is literacy? What is the definition of literacy? What is literacy and who is a literate? Try to identify. And next important news, PM Modi condemns Jerusalem terror attack, extends condolences. Prime Minister Narendra Modi strongly condemned the terrorist attack on civilians in Jerusalem, extending condolences to the families of the victims and wishing them a speedy recovery. And in fact, the attack took place on September 7th when terrorists opened fire on passengers after boarding a bus in Jerusalem, killing 5 people and injuring 12. So, pathetic incident. Even in Jerusalem, there was a terror attack. And coming up from Nepal, a very big news that is coming up from Nepal. At least 19 killed in Nepal protests. KP Sharma Oli government revoked social media ban. In fact, KP Sharma Oli government, that is the Nepali government, asked social media platforms like WhatsApp, Facebook, uh, Twitter, and other social media platforms to register within a stipulated time. And these platforms have not registered in their according to their country rules. So they have banned. After the ban was imposed, the youth in Nepal started protesting against the government, almost approached the Nepalese parliament, and they also are very angry against the Nepalese present government on corruption charges. So, after seeing the entire episode, the entire protest turned into violent. Finally, Nepalese government decided to lift the ban on Nepali social media yesterday, and at least 19 people killed and 300 were injured in the Nepal after the protests erupted in cities across the country, triggered by a sweeping social media ban imposed by KP Sharma Oli government. In Kathmandu, the police fired rubber bullets. They have fired many rounds of rubber bullets. Led by the Nepal's tech-savvy Gen Z generation, thousands poured into the streets of Kathmandu and other major cities to protest against corruption, nepotism, and misgovernance of Oli government following the ban on social media platforms imposed. So, this is a big thing, big news that is coming up from Nepal. If you see, protesters rallied in Kathmandu, Pokhara, Butwal, Dharan, Gorahi, Ithari, and elsewhere after the government cited failure to comply with the Nepal's mandatory registration requirements to ban over 2 dozen platforms, including X, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, and free speech advocates had alleged the ban was a attempt to silence the dissent against the government. It's an attempt to silence the dissent against the government. So this is a story. And accept Aadhaar as identity proof. Supreme Court orders poll panel. So in Bihar, as you all know, there's a lot of issues are going on with respect to voter registration and other things. Now the thing is, Supreme Court asked the Election Commission to accept Aadhaar as the identity proof. The Supreme Court directed the Election Commission of India to include Aadhaar as the 12th indicative document, that those seeking inclusion or exclusion of names on electoral rolls of Bihar could file as proof of identity. They could file as proof of identity. This is the news that is coming up, and this is good news to Andhra Pradesh as we have a severe urea shortage in the state. The central government is giving urea to the state. The news is coming up today morning. Union Minister of Chemicals and Fertilizers JP Nadda has responded positively to the Chief Minister Nara Chandrababu Naidu's request to extend full support in addressing Andhra Pradesh fertilizer requirements. Andhra Pradesh fertilizer requirements. And next important news. Kerala maternal mortality ratio rises steeply from 18 to 30. It increased. Very bad. You know, MMR per 1 lakh deliveries, how many women died during their delivery? Maternal mortality rate. So Kerala's maternal mortality rate has risen steeply from 18 to 30 per 1 lakh live births. See, infant mortality rate will be calculated based on 1000 births, whereas MMR will be calculated based on 1 lakh live births. Kerala's maternal mortality ratio has risen steeply from 18 to 30 per 1 lakh live births. Shows the latest sample registration system special bulletin. This is very bad. The report shows that Kerala and Andhra Pradesh shares the first spot among the states with the lower MMR. AP and Kerala lower MMR. Still it is lower. So this is something which we need to understand because IMR infant mortality rate, MMR maternal mortality rate should be as minimum as possible to have a healthy state. This is important. And the next important news, National Institutional Ranking Framework. IIT Madras topped, you all know that. Indian Rankings 2025 based on National Institutional Ranking Framework held few surprises. If you see, the parameters they consider are, they take 5 key parameters: teaching, learning and resources. 30% weightage will be given. Teaching, learning and resources. And for research and professional practice, 30% weightage. Graduation outcomes, 20% weightage. Outreach and inclusivity, 10% weightage. Peer perception, 10% weightage. Even Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan said, this peer perception is not a right thing. Peer perception might be highly subjective, might not be a right thing. What is peer perception? How students feel about the institution. That's called peer perception. The next important news, Japan PM Shigeru Ishiba resigns after party's poor performance in upper house elections few months back. Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba announced his resignation, and he also got a lot of rift within his party members. Liberal Democratic Party, he has a lot of opposition within his own party. So Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba resigned. It's very important. Next important news, India created history by winning its maiden gold medal in the men's compound team event at the World Archery Championship. So very important thing. The men's trio, Rishabh Yadav, Aman Saini and Pratmesh Fuje showed grit under pressure in this archery event. So India performed and got gold in men's archery. It's very important news. And Flamingo missile. Flamingo missile is in news. Ukraine recently unveiled a new cruise missile named Flamingo. Ukraine, which is in war with Russia, recently unveiled a new cruise missile named Flamingo. So its range is 3000 kilometers, maximum takeoff weight is 6000 kilometers, and it can carry 1150 kilogram warhead also. So there's a lot of features with respect to Flamingo. Flamingo is a missile. Flamingo is a missile. Cruise missile belongs to Ukraine. So that is in news. Guyana President Irfan Ali, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated President Irfan Ali for his victory in the recent general and regional elections held in Guyana. So kindly find out the location of Guyana and India-Guyana relation. India and Guyana share a long history of cultural and economic cooperation. With many Indians settling in Guyana I'm repeating, India and Guyana share a long history of cultural and economic cooperation with many Indians settling in the Guyana during the British colonial era.